Long ago, in a prosperous kingdom, there lived a king unlike any other. He was wise, he was respected, and his people admired him. But there was something that always troubled his heart. He often wondered, do my servants serve me because they truly respect me, or do they only serve me because I wear the crown? Day after day he watched the men and women in his palace. They bowed low when he entered. They praised his words even when he spoke of ordinary things. They smiled and rushed to obey his commands. But deep within, the king felt a shadow of doubt. If I were not the king, he asked himself, would they still treat me the same? This thought consumed him until he decided to take a bold step. He would disguise himself as a beggar, leave his throne behind, and test the hearts of those who served him. Only then would he know who was loyal in truth and who merely loved his crown. And so, under the veil of night, the king laid aside his royal robes. He dressed in torn garments, covered his face with dust, and walked out of the palace as if he were a man with nothing. No guards followed, no servants accompanied him. He became, in every eye, just another beggar wandering the streets. The next morning, the servants of the palace searched for their king. Rumors spread like wildfire. Had he been kidnapped? Had he fled? But the king, unknown to them, sat by the palace gates, hunched low, hand outstretched, voice weak. Alms, please. Alms for the poor, he whispered. The first servant he tested was one who had often spoken words of flattery in the court. This man had promised that he would give his life for the king if ever needed. But when he saw the beggar at the gate, he sneered. Filthy man, he muttered. Move away from the palace. Your kind brings shame to this place. The king lowered his head and said nothing, but in his heart, he marked the servant's true nature. Another servant passed by. She was in charge of preparing the king's meals. Often, she would greet him with bright smiles and say, Your Majesty, may your days be long. Yet now, seeing the beggar, she wrinkled her nose in disgust. Do not block the path, old man, she scolded. The king's palace is no place for you. Again, the disguised king was silent, but not every heart was cruel. Later that day, another servant emerged. This was a young man who often worked silently in the stables, cleaning the horses and feeding them. He had never sought the king's attention, and when he saw the beggar, his eyes softened. Father, he said gently, you look weary. Come, rest in the shade. I have little, but I will share what I have. He brought the beggar water and bread, though his own meal was meager. The king watched him closely and thought, Here is one who serves not for reward, but from the kindness of his heart. The days went on, and the king tested many more servants. Some pushed him away, others mocked him, and only a few showed compassion. Each moment revealed the truth. One night, as he lay on the cold stone outside the palace, the king reflected, How strange the world is. When I sat on the throne, surrounded by gold and silk, all bowed before me. But strip away the crown and I am invisible. Perhaps this is the test of life itself. When wealth and power fade, who will still honor you for who you are? He realized something deeper, that even beyond his servants, this was the test of all humanity. Do we show kindness only to those who can repay us? Or do we show kindness to the forgotten, the powerless, the unseen? Finally, after several weeks, the king returned to his throne. He called all his servants into the great hall, their faces lit with relief when they saw him. They cheered, they clapped, they bowed. But the king's face was stern. My faithful ones, he began, I have been among you all these days, though you did not know it. A silence fell. Confusion clouded their eyes. Yes, he continued. I was the beggar who sat by the gates. I was the man you ignored, the one some of you insulted and the one a few of you helped. Gasps filled the hall. Some servants trembled, realizing what they had done. The king's eyes swept across the crowd. Now I know who serves me out of true loyalty, and who serves me only for the crown I wear. Those who had mocked him hung their heads in shame. Those who had shown kindness felt tears rise in their eyes. The king rewarded the humble and faithful servants, giving them places of honor in the palace. But those who had revealed selfishness and cruelty were dismissed, for he declared, "A kingdom cannot be built on false loyalty. Only those with hearts of compassion can be trusted to serve." The story of the king spread far beyond the palace walls. People whispered of the ruler who had disguised himself as a beggar to test the hearts of men. And it became a lesson for generations. Because in truth, every one of us wears a disguise in this life. Sometimes we are tested not when we are strong, but when we are weak. Not when we are rich, but when we are poor. And the way we treat those who seem to have nothing reveals the true nature of our own souls. So ask yourself this: if you saw a beggar by the road, would you turn away in disgust, or would you offer what little you could? Because kindness, no matter how small, is never wasted. It is seen. It is remembered. And one day it may be the very thing that defines you. For the king in this story discovered a truth that still echoes today. Crowns may command obedience, but only compassion commands true loyalty. And perhaps, just perhaps, the greatest test of all is how we treat those who have nothing to offer us in return.